If you're watching this video, you probably started learning to code and you want to get into tech industry as fast as you can. And that is completely understandable. I bet everyone who starts coding, they want to get a developer job as fast as they can. However, recently I noticed that there are many videos on YouTube where people are talking about their experiences or telling other people how they quit their jobs in order to pursue coding full time. So, because of that, I decided to film a video titled "Should You Quit Your Job to Learn Programming?" And why should you listen to me? Well, because few months back, I had to leave my job and then I had to do something. So what did I do? I started to learn code. And to be completely honest, my situation was a bit different than everyone else. I quit my job first and only then I decided to start learning to code. In most cases, people are probably started learning to code first and only then are thinking of quitting their jobs. Either way, I thought I'm gonna film this video and share my experience and my thoughts of what I think you should do if you're thinking to quit your job and go full-time learning mode. So if I would have a job and I would need to decide if I should stay in that job and study after it, or should I quit it and study full-time, what would I do and what I think is the most logical choice. And personally, I had money saved up for me to live for a couple months without any stress, and that's why I left my previous jobs without finding anything else. However, for most people, I think they shouldn't quit their job when they're just starting to learn to code. Personally, I wouldn't do it and I wouldn't recommend for others to do, even though I'm kind of in this situation. But I noticed many YouTubers on YouTube are filming videos and telling people that it's a logical thing to quit your job in order to learn to code. And I think that is not true because in most cases, those YouTubers are making full-time income filming videos and they are telling other people, ordinary people who have one stream of income, to quit their jobs in order to pursue coding. And I just think that is not the best thing to do, and here are the reasons why. First reason why I wouldn't quit my job to learn code if I could go back in time is because it takes longer than most people think. And I know there are plenty videos on YouTube where people are telling others that they learned how to code in 2 or 3 months and got their jobs after 2 or 3 months. And I'm not saying that they are lying, but I'm saying that they are probably the outliers, the few who can get a job in this field in 2 months. Because for most of us, it is gonna take a lot more than 2 months to learn how to code and actually get a job. So if you have only 2 months of savings and you're thinking about quitting your job, I would really rethink that choice. Because if you don't get a job in 2 months, well, basically you are screwed and you can't really keep learning full time. You have to get back to work or get a second job. And that's a bad situation to be in. And again, I'm not saying that it is impossible to get a job in 2 or 3 months, because there are people who actually got it. But I'm just sharing my personal experience. And I have been studying code for around 1.5 months. And of course, I started with HTML and CSS. Then I learned some Bootstrap. But overall, I have spent already more than 1 month and I haven't touched JavaScript because I just don't feel comfortable with HTML and CSS yet. So if that takes more than 1 month, who knows how long does it gonna take for me to learn JavaScript, React, or any other technologies. Probably it can take for me from 5 to 7 to 8 to 9 months to fully learn everything and to become a self-taught developer. And for that reason, I think for most people, it just doesn't make sense to quit their job to spend 5 to 7, in some cases 9 months only studying. Of course, if you have the resources, maybe you're living with a family who can help you to pay rent and all that stuff, then yeah, maybe it can be a good thing to spend more time on code than working. However, here comes the second reason why I think quitting your job to learn programming is a bad idea, and it is because you still won't be able to spend much more time on code without the job than once you had a job. And I know this might not make any sense because when you don't have a job, you have all the time in the world. Nothing gets into your way to study. That seems logical. But again, from my personal experience, and again, it's only my personal experience, but you can't really stay focused for more than 4 hours. For me, coding is very challenging. It requires you to stay focused all the time, and you just can't half-ass it. You need to stay focused, you need to stay concentrated for the whole time when you are studying and learning. So I usually spend 4 hours a day learning to code. And for someone who doesn't have a job, that might seem a pretty low number because, hey, I have so much time, I could spend 8 hours a day learning how to code. Or I could spend 10 hours or maybe even up to 12 because I don't have a job. And for most people, that's what they think. They think that once they're gonna quit their jobs, they're gonna be able to spend 8 to 10 hours learning to code. But let me tell you, after 4 hours of studying, your mind is fried. Of course, for some people it might be different, but for me, after the 4 hours, I just can't remember what I was doing. I can spend 6, 7, 8 hours to study, and I have tried studying for 6 and more hours. But let me tell you, everything I learned after the 4-hour mark, I actually didn't learn. I was just sitting there to spend the time so I could say I was learning to code. However, this might be different for other people. Maybe you can stay focused for 8 hours and spend those 8 hours immersed into code, but I personally can't. And this is my experience, so it can be different for you. However, if you quit your job to learn how to code, let me know, how are you doing? How much time are you spending on code? Because I am genuinely interested to know how other people are doing. Because if I would have a job, I still would probably spend around 2 to 3 hours on code. Meanwhile, right now I'm spending around 4 hours. So the difference is not that big. However, I would love to know what other people think and how much time you are spending on your code. And that being said, thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, don't forget to drop a like on this video. And yeah, see you in the next one.